Hey guys, if you click that link today, you're wanting to know what the weather's like up here in Woodland Park, Colorado, and who doesn't want to know that? You know, I mean, it might be beautiful in the summertime, but what's going to happen in the wintertime? So make sure you stay tuned to the end. We'll talk about all the seasons up here in Woodland Park, so that way you know what you're getting into. What's up guys, this is James Dean with James Dean Mountain Real Estate and Keller Williams Client's Choice right here in Woodland Park, Colorado. So if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in, working in, sleeping in, eating in, drinking in, and even all that Woodland Park weather out here, make sure you click that subscribe button down there. Also hit that bell so that way you're notified the next time there's a video that comes out. I mean, honestly, we've got people calling all the time that are relocating here to Woodland Park, and I absolutely love it. So reach on out to me, give me a call, 719-304-9772, shoot me a text, send me an email, send that carrier pigeon right on up here. I'll snatch them out of the sky. Yeah, let me back you up and have your back for why you're moving out here to the Woodland Park area, Colorado. Okay guys, today we're talking about Woodland Park, Colorado weather and what that looks like. So that's an important question that a lot of people are always asking, and a lot of that's dictated on bad stories they've heard or anything else. I mean, or great stories they've heard, and they want to make sure this is all going to stay, you know, kosher the entire time and nothing's ever going to change. So this is a big deal for a lot of folks, and it's a lot of fun stuff. I mean, I'm a prior pilot, still like to fly not commercially, but on the civilian side, but weather's a big thing for me, so I can kind of dive a little bit too deeply into this. So I'll just kind of skim the surface on this. I don't want to bore anybody too much, but it's a lot of fun out here, and the weather can change quickly on, you know, just on the blink of an eye. And that's part of being up here in this mountain type environment. And there's lots of little microclimates that kind of happen up here too, little mountain microclimates. So we'll start off talking about the big one, big old King Winter. Everybody wants to hear about King Winter in Woodland Park in the Teller County area. And they want to know, like, oh, is it going to be 6 feet of snow? Is it going to be like I'm driving down these big snow tunnels and everything? And if my dog hops out to use the bathroom and he steps off a nice shelf, is he going to disappear and I won't see him again until springtime? No, it's not going to be like that at all. We do get a lot of snow up here. I want to say the last time I saw the average it's like 166 inches a year is what the average is. And that seems daunting at first when you look at that, especially if you're coming from a place without a lot of snow. But that's not like 166 inches stacked on top of itself, and then at the end of the year you've got 166 inches of snow that you're waiting to melt off in the springtime. It's not that at all. That's 166 inches. I mean, it'll snow a few inches at a time, and then it'll typically melt off. Sometimes it'll do back-to-back snows. For the most part, what I've seen since I've been out here, and I've been out here for 6 years, is I've seen snow that gets about 30, 36 inches is the most I've seen. Unless you've got drifts, then you can have a little bit more. But that's pretty common up in that area, and then it's still gonna melt down. So what you have to remember too is we're up here at 9,000 feet-ish, depending on where you are in Teller County. And that's pretty close to the sun compared to other places within the United States. So with that, we get a little bit more impact from the sun when it comes out. And it's this really dry snow out here too. So it's not this wet, dead snow that takes forever to dry and hard to melt, and it just gets all nice and slushy and it just takes forever to go away. This dry snow doesn't take long to go away at all. The sun comes out, beats it down, and it'll dry out pretty quick. And I mentioned kind of like the microclimates we have out here. We also have an area just a little bit further to the west here in the Teller County area in Florissant, and that's in the Banana Belt. And they get a lot less snow than even I do. So my parents live in Florissant. They're 10 miles, less than 10 miles straight line from where I live in Divide. And it's kind of funny because of this microclimates, we get a lot more snow in Divide and more moisture throughout the year than they do in Florissant. And Florissant looks more of like a high mountain desert, whereas Divide's got a lot more greenery and stuff too. So you get these little mountain climates that kind of built in to all this as well. But the sun really beats that stuff down, and it's not bad. On top of that, I would say, bar none, the snow removal up here in Teller County is way better than what happens down there in El Paso. And a lot of that has to do with the amount of traffic that goes through, because it's hard to do a lot of snow removal when you got tons of traffic kind of moving around. But usually if there's a big snow, I don't have any issues getting around up here in Teller County. It's usually when I go down that mountain and I get to Manitou Springs and I'm at the end of that pass, that's when it seems like, oh, hell breaks loose. And you're just like, what is happening down here? People are sliding everywhere. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're all freaking out. There's cars spinning around. You're just like, this was not going on up in the mountains. And it doesn't typically happen like that up here at all. So that was kind of funny to see how that kind of dynamic pushed out. Another thing that I find very interesting is a lot of times in the winter months, they'll get those clouds that come in and they're butted right up against the mountains. And we're up here in the sunshine. It's beautiful, blue skies, gorgeous outside. Sometimes it's even warmer up here than it is in the springs in the wintertime, where it's nasty down there and gloomy and just not very nice looking and stuff. That happens quite a bit. So that's kind of cool to see as well. So just kind of think about that. I will say the thing that will kind of get to you, so the coldness doesn't feel as cold up here because it's dry, but what will kind of push it into you is the wind. So finding places, that are kind of out of the wind. If you get a home that's like up on top of Divide, like in those big open areas that are right there by Highway 24, those things get blasted with wind up there. So just know that if you're going to get up there, you're going to be in a really high windy area. You'll get beautiful views up there, but it's a very windy area. So when you're outside, sometimes it's just blistery wind out there in the wintertime. So definitely think along those lines. Temps are typically in the wintertime, the lows are usually down close to the single digits is the lowest we typically see. Sometimes you'll see them in the negatives, but not very often. And then they'll get up into the 20s normally during the day for some of your coldest days. But normally, you're up there pretty close to like the 20s and 30s for your highs and everything. And it feels nice with the sun that's out too. So good to know with that. Springtime comes in. We get a lot of our snow and our moisture in the springtime. We'll get more snow in the springtime than we will in the wintertime. And that's when a little bit more of that wet snow comes in, but that stuff melts so quick because the temperatures have already changed so much and that sun's starting to move itself back up in the northern hemisphere a little bit closer to us, so it melts a lot quicker. But that's also what gives us all of our mountain flowers and all the greenery that we get at the end of spring into the beginning of summertime. That's really pretty to have also. That stuff melts off really fast, which is great because you don't have to deal with it building up, and typically you don't have to worry about plowing or anything during the springtime because it happens so quick. But something that you do need to think about is it's then mud season. So all that snow melting and all those dirt roads, it all turns into mud season and it just makes a big mess. So trying to keep your car clean if you live on a dirt road, good luck, because you'll wash it and then it'll snow again and then it's just like, why is this happening? This never stops. So that's something that's kind of aggravating, but it's something to kind of expect every spring as well. With those spring snowstorms, as they start to dissipate and it starts to warm up more, they start turning more into thunderstorms too. And those thunderstorms will start rolling in, and that's when we start getting more of a monsoon season. And that kind of pushes through into part of June as well, when we get a lot of our moisture. But that moisture is great because that's what helps kind of tamp down the fire season that we could potentially have. And the more rain we get from those storms that come through, the less likelihood we're going to have of having a bad fire season, which is always an awesome thing in Colorado. We never want bad fire seasons out here. With those thunderstorms, we will get some hail that'll come down. Up here in the Woodland Park in the Teller County area, it's usually just tiny little, like little pea-sized hail that'll come down, or snow pellets and stuff. Typically won't get any worse than that. You get down on the Front Range and it starts pushing off away from those mountains, and that's when you get those big golf ball size and 2-3 inch size hails that could come out of some of those thunderstorms, because those cells get pretty big pretty fast as they push away from the mountains. But we're kind of protected up here in the mountains where it doesn't really happen so bad in that aspect. Summertime, we still get the thunderstorms all summertime. Like that's usually an afternoon occurrence. You can kind of expect that in the summertime to have those thunderstorms that'll kind of pop up right around the 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening time frame. And then they'll die out once the sun goes down as things start cooling down. But it does provide some moisture out here, and they're beautiful. You get to hear them and see them going by. Just because there's a thunderstorm in Divide doesn't mean there's one that's going to hit Woodland Park or vice versa. I mean, they can really just kind of miss the areas that you're in too. So that's something else that can kind of pop up that you're looking at too. The same thing with the hail. That doesn't really stop potentially out of a thunderstorm. The really bad ones are usually going to throw some hail. But usually it's really small pieces, so you don't have to worry about it damaging your vehicles or anything too. And then the sunshine is gorgeous. you get those beautiful sunny days when the leaves are all on all the aspens and they're blowing out there and everything's green, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's great hiking weather. You can get out there and enjoy it and just really enjoy being in the outside with your shorts and t-shirt on and just having a good time. Temperatures typically in the summertime aren't going to get any hotter than 80 degrees. You might have a few days that kind of pop above 80, but usually isn't very bad at all. And once again, it's still that dryness outside, so it's not going to feel as hot as an 80 degrees in the southeast. It's going to be very comfortable with that mountain breeze, and it's going to be a great time to be outside. Just make sure you get that sunscreen on, because it's going to feel like you're not going to get burned, but you can get fried out there and that stuff. So make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. And then fall time. So fall time, you know, it's usually a little bit drier in the fall time. Air's getting a little bit crisper. We're starting to look at the fireplaces starting to get used again. You've got your wood all set up there, your cords of wood, and just enjoying being outside for that last little bit, you know, before it gets into ski season. Excuse me. And there's a lot of things happening with the leaves, with the leaves changing and everything. You get the leafers that come out just to look at the aspens and the trees out here, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful to be out here for that. Nice crisp fall nights. So much fun, beautiful clear skies, just a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment in those. During late fall, like typically right around looking at Veterans Day in November, like beginning of November time frame, it's usually when we're starting to look at, we usually have a snow typically right around Halloween too, but we're starting to look at those first snows that are coming in. They're gonna start pushing in and just start getting that feel potentially of having that winter that's starting to kind of come in too. So I hope that kind of explained like all the seasons that we get with the different weather that we get here in Colorado too. I love living here. I've lived in a bunch of different places in the United States and the world, including South Florida. I went through Hurricane Andrew as a kid with that Cat 5 hurricane. Didn't like that at all. I don't like tornadoes. My wife's from Wichita, Kansas. So there's a lot less of that type of stuff that's here. And it's just beautiful weather. It's awesome being up here in the mountains. It's an outdoor mecca up here. I mean, you can do stuff outside year round. Whether it's cold outside in wintertime, it's not too cold to be able to go out and do anything like snowshoeing or cross-country skiing or snowmobiling, stuff like that. So it's just, there's a lot of stuff you can do out here in the weather, and it's an all year round enjoyed environment up here in the mountains. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and this video that's basically on the weather up here in the Woodland Park in the Teller County and Pikes Peak area. I enjoyed kind of breaking it down for you guys. Once again, I'm James Dean with James Dean Mountain Real Estate, Keller Williams Client's Choice. Make sure you give me a call, 719-304-9772. Shoot me that text, that email, send that carrier pigeon on out. Just don't let them get caught in one of those thunderstorms. But definitely reach out to me if you're looking at relocating and moving out here. I'd love to help you, and I've got your back moving out here to the Woodland Park, Colorado area. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video that'll be coming out here soon. But until then, stay safe, have a good time, and let's have a blast in the mountains.